In this bonus episode of Fictional Hangover, we talk about jumping off horses and sticking the landing, a goose wearing outfits, a Keanu Reeves and Jeff Goldblum celebrity deathmatch, frogs in places, and setting fire to wineries with Lish McBride, author of Necromancing the Stone. Hey everybody, welcome to Fictional Hangover, a podcast about young adult and new adult books, series, authors, and voice actors that is full of spoilers. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire, and today we're going to talk to Lish McBride, author of Necromancing the Stone. Enjoy!
I should just go ahead and start recording now, because we missed good stuff at the beginning last time. And who knows what the hell we're even going to talk about this time. It's going to be great, so I'm recording! Ah, yay, the robot told us.
Yay, robot.
Yay!
Speaking of robot, I watched Manborn.
You did!
Yesterday.
Sorry, that was a bit loud.
Finally. I have to say, I looked it up. Their budget was like $1,000, like $1,000. I think they did a lot with $1,000. Like, I was actually pretty impressed with that. But see, I laughed a couple of times.
I was howling.
Just the dialogue.
It is not a good movie, but it's a great movie. It is just wrong.
I'm sad that I haven't been able to watch it yet.
It's clearly, like, I can see, having watched one of their other films, Psycho Gorman, I can see kind of like,
yeah,
I can see connections. They're learning their craft.
It's just crazy. It's just, we've had a massive cull of DVDs and Blu-rays, and Manborg's still happily sitting on my shelf. I will not get rid of it because it's just delightfully weird people.
I watched some really good movies. Two of 4, I believe there are 4 of them out. Ghoulies. Been watching Ghoulies.
I saw Ghoulies when I was a kid. I don't think I've seen Ghoulies at any sort of recent time.
It's the first time I've ever seen Ghoulies. And I gotta say, the carnival Ghoulies are better than the first Ghoulies.
I didn't realise there was 4 of them.
I often watch them.
I'm excited to see them when they go to college.
I don't think I knew that there were 4. I think I've seen the original Ghoulies. I don't think I saw anything else.
Oh, it gets better. You need to go ahead and watch the rest of those Ghoulies.
Oh my goodness.
I've been bad about watching anything. I don't think I've really watched much in the way of cinema. I did start watching Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. That there was like one season. It's got Matt Berry from IT Crowd.
I mean, he's great. Is it good?
Well, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's sort of a parody of like a horror. I don't really know how to describe it. It's got a great cast, and it's sort of about a horror author who makes this show, and it's a documentary of the show. It's goofy, very gory. I kept missing bits of the dialogue is so fast that I actually kept missing some of it and had to go back. But you can't get it over here right now. I had to go on YouTube.
What's it called?
Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
I'm really bad at the moment for watching TV or like not watching TV. It took me ages to finish watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I literally just did a Friday night. That's just so I could watch Loki.
I haven't watched Loki.
No spoilers. Oh, yes! Spoilers. I haven't seen it, but yes, I have seen the trailers of Dark Place. Yeah. It's got Rich Diode in as well.
I've had a couple people, who I love.
Yeah.
I love him. I had a couple people recommend it to me, and I hadn't gotten to it, so I finally tried to track it down. But then, had to go to YouTube, which I hate.
I spent a long time on YouTube yesterday watching Dankmas their videos
I've
of
seen that.
the Simpsons that they've remixed into like dance songs, and it's just it was it was bad. It was bad, but there's the very first one I watched is called We Got Beats, and it was terrible. And then we watched a million more of them. So
you fell down the YouTube black hole.
So, yes.
I try to avoid YouTube. I
don't care for it.
I don't know. Everyone yells on YouTube. That's my problem. Everyone yells. And because my youngest son really loves YouTube. And I can't, even the ones that are less obnoxious, where they're actually like has some content, they're all screaming. And I don't understand why.
That's how I feel about TikTok. Like, I make the TikToks of my cosplays because I enjoy dancing around ridiculously in cosplays, but my god, everyone is just so obnoxious, and I can't handle it.
Yeah, I don't do TikTok.
I think I follow the sweet. I'm on it a little bit. I'm a lurker. Like, I don't post anything, and the ones I follow are like sort of like it's the sweet side of TikTok. And so I follow like Your Korean Dad.
Oh, I've seen some of those.
Yeah,
he's pretty wholesome.
Yeah, he's adorable. Like, I can't handle it. I follow a lot of those, and there's a chef in Washington that I follow who does these really short. Sometimes he's just chopping stuff. I don't know why, but I'll be on there for 45 minutes just watching him cook stuff that I would never ever cook because it's all way too involved for me.
For some reason, all of the videos that I am shown are people pulling their hair into ponytails and then doing like the 90s 80s topsy tail where you tuck the ponytail through, and I don't know why I keep seeing these videos, but it's the same ponytails over and over and over and over and over again, and I can't comprehend why.
You got onto some sort of algorithm, and now that's all they're giving you.
It's just topsy tails all over the place.
You see, I don't go on TikTok itself. Unfortunately, I'm on Twitter Hellscape, so I just watch people's posts on there, or wait for people to send me links to TikTok of good videos. What they think of good videos.
I am only gonna send those.
Yeah. I like the videos like you know where it's just something that's being built, or like, you know, this is how something works, or when have you seen those videos where it's like the cookie cutters have been made and it shows you how things get created. It's like ASMR except for the eyes. There's something deeply satisfying about these. Just watching like the way the machines just compress things, or press like the hydraulic things press down on watermelons and make them squish out. And it's just basic stuff like that.
I haven't seen those. I have followed a Chihuahua that has some condition where it when it walks, it sort of walks in a kind of diagonal prance. It looks like it's dancing, and the owner syncs up the music. I've hit that age where I'm like, yes, show me. God. I'll send you the link. Prancing.
Oh, I've seen videos like that, but it's the horse. It's the horse doing the little trots, but then they speed it up, so the horse has like tiny fast legs. I've seen those. Those are pretty terrible and great. Why? Oh my gosh. Do you know what we should do before we talk about more terrible videos that we watch all the time?
Get in touch with TikTok and give them the new tagline. Terrible but great. That's their new tagline. That's how they need to sell TikTok.
Yes.
Terrible but great. Yes, would you rather? Really Let's do that.
Yes. So, it's time. It's time for Would You Rather.
It's time.
Yes, and we're so excited because our favorite Lish McBride is back with us.
Yeah.
Like you too much, I think. So thanks for joining us again.
Yeah. You sent me the question and I already forgot what the question was.
It's fine.
Even though
you can be surprised.
So we asked everybody, some people in advance, but you know, we'll forgive them. Would you rather have a Pookies? Am I saying that right? How do you say Pookies? Pookies?
I think it's Pukas. It's it's funny. I love to put words into books that I don't know how to say. Like it's like my favorite thing. And by my favorite thing, I mean it's an actual nightmare because then I have to go read somewhere. Or last week I had to call the people doing the audiobook for Curses and pronounce a bunch of things for them. And I'm like, some of the words I made up. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how fonts work. It's an actual nightmare. I think it's Pukas. Sorry. Would I rather have that?
Would you rather have a Pukas Pukis or Pukisi Pukus? Or the reanimated corpse of Keanu Reeves as your personal assistant? Would you like to know how social media went before, in case it sways you?
It does not. No, because I want it. So I would rather have James, the Pukas, because he's very efficient. Also, he turns into a tiny dragon. I like that. I want a tiny dragon.
But Keanu Reeves.
I adore Keanu Reeves, but like he's not. In the book, he's not useful. He's not like the real Keanu Reeves, who I think would be amazing. In the book, he's less amazing.
Real Keanu Reeves would have your soy latte ready to go. He would know exactly what your coffee order was and just have it in front of you every morning.
Make you a sandwich, just in case you're hungry.
He wouldn't just sit on the ground and eat grass because I love him.
I do. He's great. Like I honestly do. I have a deep and abiding love for Keanu Reeves.
We're going to have to explore the Keanu Reeves aspect a bit more, I think, after the Would You Rathers. But we're going down that route. It's happening.
We'll definitely have to. I do have my friend for Christmas sent me a Keanu Reeves coloring book.
That's fantastic.
It's pretty good. I haven't colored it yet because I'm afraid to.
You gotta make copies of it, which means you have to have a copier or a printer.
I do have that. The big like adult coloring book phase that was over here, like those overly complicated coloring books that everyone bought, and they're supposed to be. I worked in a bookstore when that was going on, and it was bonkers, like how many we sold. But it's supposed to be a stress reliever. Like studies have shown, your blood pressure goes down and everything. I find them very stressful. I don't know what it is, but it's a color sheet. Like, why is it stressful? But the complicated ones, I'm like, that looks like a lot of time. I'm not gonna. So I shut down. I can't do it.
Is the Keanu Reeves one really detailed?
The Keanu Reeves one isn't bad. It's sort of a medium ground.
Okay.
What did you guys pick? What would you pick?
I just love Keanu Reeves, so that's what I pick. Anytime Keanu Reeves is an option, he is the way to go.
Yeah. Same. Keanu Reeves, hands down, voted across the board, Keanu Reeves. I mean, don't get us wrong, if James was my personal assistant as well, his efficiency would be through the roof. But there's something about just having a little Keanu, on the floor, curled up, a little nap. It's just so cute. They're there, minion.
Constantly quoting his movies. So good.
What did the internet say?
The internet.
I'm curious.
Do you want the stats or do you want what the people said?
I feel like we should probably share statistics because that's what we always do.
We do have them. On Facebook, 73% said Pukas and 27% Keanu. On Instagram, it was 72% for the Pukas and 28% for Keanu. And on Twitter, it was 64% for the Pukas and 36% for the Keanu. And on TikTok, 54% for Pukas and 46% for Keanu. So surprisingly, Keanu did not win. Everybody wants a cute little...
I'm actually quite surprised. I'm surprised.
I am too.
I think mostly I would just find it really entertaining. James is so easy to drive crazy. I mean, just that sort of the easy person to rile, and I think I would find that very entertaining.
You'd have to get him though specifically rather than just a random.
Being a human captain.
Yeah. I don't want to hurt James. I want to protect James. I want him to always be happy and always be well. Sweet baby James. I can't imagine making him be my personal servant. I don't like it. He's too precious.
But it's personal assistant, so he should get parent benefits.
Sam.
He's not an indentured servant.
He basically does. He's basically, from Sam's point of view, he's more of like family who gets a paycheck. But
it's because
James's view of things is very
It's
different.
because Sam is wonderful in every way, shape, and form.
So he's another sweet
He
angel
is.
babe.
He is.
So freaking wholesome.
Okay, so do you want to share some comments that we got on social media? We had a lot, surprisingly.
Did. Marley on Facebook said
It's the Keanu Reeves.
it wasn't everybody going for the same one for it, which is nice. Marley on Facebook said, Pukas, the fun possibilities and fantasies about this entity are endless in my mind.
Crystal on Facebook said, you had me at Keanu Reeves. Yeah, Crystal. Yeah, we did.
Samesies. Colin on Facebook said, give me some reanimated corpse action, please. Even as a potentially shambling zombie creature, the man is John Wick, and huge parts of being my personal assistant is hurting people in inventive ways, so he's the undead abomination for the job. Fair.
Excellent. Books Are Forever on Instagram said, Pookies, because at least he'll be able to shift into other forms, which will be handy in case you are forgetful like me.
Stefan Creations on Instagram said, I've heard Keanu is like the sweetest man alive. Is he alive though? That's the question. But I'd rather have the Pukas. Seems like we get into more places that way. Like cats can be sneaky and quiet. Man can be more conspicuous. And a dragon could F something up when needed.
I'm glad the dragon's effing stuff up. Especially because it's effing stuff up. Retard on Instagram said Pukas because love cats and small dragons, and they can look like Keanu Reeves in man form to give me the best of both. Reanimated corpse would be too smelly though, no matter who it was.
I don't know, because the way the magical zombies, like there's no smell.
Right, no smell at
There
all.
wouldn't be. He would look completely human.
And no shambling, they're not the shambling zombies of traditional TV.
No.
Eating grass, not brains.
Exactly, grass, not brains.
Real Jackson Ford on Instagram said Keanu because even as a corpse, he'd be cool as fuck.
He would.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember. Oh wait, we're going to talk about Keanu later. Yeah, I guess I won't say anything.
Keanu needs his own section. He does.
He needs his own podcast.
Do you want to hear more? Shall we move on to the next question?
Is there one more?
Constance on TikTok said, Cat, I'm a kitty cat and I dance, 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 and I dance, dance, dance.
I'm still so pleased with Constance. We challenged her a few episodes ago to only respond in song lyrics, so she is not disappointed.
I mean, yeah. I'm trying to think of other good cat song lyrics.
I'm useless at music, so I would use the power of Google to try and come up with any song lyric that would be appropriate.
Yeah.
That's what Google's for.
Yeah.
True.
And, I mean, are there songs about Keanu Reeves? Or would you just have to choose a song by Keanu Reeves?
I would probably go with God Gave Rock and Roll to Us. Even though it's not Keanu, it's kind of Keanu adjacent.
I mean, there's a song that'll always be my maybe that's about him punching Keanu Reeves, which is not what we want. There is the best part. There is a song by a band called the Ataris called San Dimas High School Football Rules, which is referring to Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It's Keanu adjacent. But there's got to be, I'm sure there's a song out there about Keanu Reeves.
There has to be.
About Keanu.
Are you Googling it? Are you wasting your internet on Googling Keanu Reeves songs?
Come back to me. Go to the next question.
Okay, good. Okay. Would you rather be a necromancer, a witch, a were, a Bigfoot, or a gnome?
I always pick werewolf. I'm always team werewolf. I am. And, though, I mean, a were could be lots of other things too. But I'm fascinated, I think, by the mythology. Also, I feel like necromancer powers are pretty limited.
Unless you're Sam, apparently, because he has all of the powers and even some witchiness thrown in and empathy and just a great big heart. And he's wonderful in every way.
I'm not nice enough to be Sam. I think I'd have to be. Yeah, I think I'm sticking with rare creature. I want to turn into stuff.
Yeah.
Bigfoot's too much hair.
But you would be so
No.
sexy. You would be so sexy as a Bigfoot.
But only if you're UPS driver as well, I think. Or during, the seasonal pheromone stage.
I made bookmarks of Sexy Gary, and the amount of
Please
I can send
do.
them to you.
I want
Yes!
that so bad.
The amount of books that I've sold on that, or even just like I'll be at school events. There occasionally it's a kid named Gary, and he's like, can I just have this? And it's yes, it's all for you, friend. Sweet Sexy Gary.
Sexy Gary, so good.
I think the UPS outfit was my so my agent always reads through and does like revisions with me before my editor sees it. And I think he was responsible for the UPS outfit.
So it's him we need to ask about the attraction to UPS drivers.
Save it. That's not this question. That's another question.
Jumping ahead again. Okay, pinning that one.
Okay.
Amanda, Necromancer, witch, were, Bigfoot or gnome?
Probably a witch. Witch. Yeah. Especially if I could like cackle, be like a stereotypical witch, like an evil witch. I'll do that.
If you don't live in the woods in a chicken-legged house, are you really a witch?
No, you're not.
See, I'm thinking Necromancer, then I'm kind of witch adjacent because I've still got like wicked magical powers, but then I live in a spooky house. So yeah, I'm going to go Necromancer. I'm going to necromance everything up. Yeah,
Good.
have an army of the undead. Come at me. I can bring out more. Where's all of yours? Oh, the dead? Right, my army now.
Yeah, that's good.
Not that I would use the powers for bad. Legal disclaimer.
Are you a Douglas? You're sounding like a Douglas. You're not sounding like a Sam.
I am British. We always turn bonus.
Oh, gosh.
Next question. Would you rather be called Twinkle the Destroyer, Pip the Bringer of Pain, Chauncey the Devourer of Souls, Cuddly the Inexplicable, Norman Polanski, Pith the Bitey, Norm Chomsky, Normie Malone, or Chuck the Norriser?
I think I would be Bitey. I'd be Bitey.
I had to stop listening to the audiobook when we came to the gnome names and rewind to listen to them again because it was so funny.
They're so good.
That one I actually I talked to a couple of my other writer friends and we sort of brainstormed. Some of them are mine, but a few of them were ones. I think I thanked the specific people that helped me in the book. But yeah, they came up with some great one. And I was sort of bummed that I haven't been able to do a third Sam book yet because I wanted to bring in female gnomes.
Oh my gosh.
I had a name for one of them.
What is her name? Can you tell us? Tell us her name.
I was gonna do a play off of Mary Death, for my friend Meredith, who is actually a ninja. Seriously, she writes plays. She's a very talented writer, but she also trains in ninjutsu. Like she goes to Japan.
Awesome.
Wow.
As a literal ninja. I saw her jump off a horse once. And it was seriously, I was in Mexico at this writer's thing, and we were on like a series of horses going down this very, very tiny trail with jagged rocks and cacti everywhere. So like you did not want to fall off the horse. And we get down to the bottom, and her horse was right in front of mine, and there was just this little tiny sandy patch, and I guess her horse had an itch because it dropped down and rolled. And she leaped off the back of the horse and landed on her feet. It was so fast I almost missed it, but it was the most impressive thing I've ever seen in real life. And then she got back on the horse. Like as soon as the horse done, she's like, "All right, climb back up." It was like, you have, I don't think, any fear in your body. Like that is, I am very comfortable around horses, but I was like, I would at least think twice. Like, are you done? If you're going to do that, because I probably would have not. I wouldn't have been able to get off the horse in time. I would have been crushed. It would have been the end of me.
You do not want to mess with her. She's a badass.
She's awesome. I was gonna name a gnome after her, but we haven't gotten to third Sam yet.
Do the female gnomes have beards? Like a female dwarf would probably have a beard.
I don't think I've decided yet. I usually do. I sort of do world building as I need it. I don't know. It's one of those things. There's lots of times when people ask me questions that I haven't tackled yet. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe.
What do you think? Do you think that's a good idea?
I kind of like the idea.
Tell
maybe
me
at
some
least some
inspirations. What do you think?
Fierce lady
I would
mutton chops.
love a fierce lady mutton chop.
That would be amazing. Just down there, not all the way around. Just
Yep.
that would be amazing.
I also just like the term fierce lady mutton chop.
That's another female gnome name you've got right there in the bag.
Yeah.
Write that one down.
I wish I had a fierce lady mutton chop on it.
That's amazing.
So good.
Our fanfic is just this week's probably just gonna the fanfic we never write is gonna just be about the gnomes, I think.
Probably.
They're so much fun. They're basically, I mean, they're just chaos. They are unleashed. I mean, there's no gnomes don't think things through. They just go full bore all the time, and it's really entertaining.
I really
Literally
like them.
tiny terrors.
Yes. I think I would pick Cuddly the Inexplicable just for the inexplicable part. You know, why is he cuddly? Is he cuddly for, nefarious purposes? It's hard to say because he's inexplicable.
Well, I think it confuses the other gnomes too, because they're not particularly cuddly, and so there's this one that just keeps going around just giving these really good hugs that go on just slightly too long.
Inappropriate hugs.
Everyone's just kind of. He means he's not doing it to be creepy. He's just a hugger. But for gnomes, it doesn't really fit their culture.
I love it.
That's delightful. That is delightful. See, I was going to pick Cuddly, but now you're Cuddly. That's fine. I'm going to be Pip, the bringer of pain.
Yeah.
So it's like, hi, Pip. Hi.
Yeah. I also like Twinkle the Destroyer because Twinkle's just so tiny and adorable, but then he's a destroyer.
Yep.
Like him.
I do have a deep love for Chuck the
Chuck
Norris.
is also fantastic, especially later when he wears a cowboy hat. But it's got to be a red one, so it's still gnome adjacent.
I did several sort of these fun text exchanges between characters that I finally put them up on my website this week. They were originally, I think, Patreon stuff, but there's definitely some gnome things in there.
Check that one out.
They're just fun.
That's amazing. The gnomes need their own little story. They need everything. As soon as they came on, I was just obsessed with them.
Yeah.
Sorry, Keanu.
The gnomes, they deserve the world.
It's weird. I didn't have any gnomes before. It's not something I have owned myself, but I now have several because people have bought them for me. And so the very first, I think, book event for Necromancing the Stone that I had, or maybe are the gnomes in Hold Me Closer at all?
I think they're just
I don't think they
mentioned if they're in it at all.
Yeah.
One of the first book events I think for Necromancing the Stone, there was these women in the audience that the first question they asked me was do you own any gnomes? And I was like, well no, not yet. No, we have. And they told me how many gnomes they have, and they're all reading. And I was like, well, that seems kind of stressful for the gnomes. Maybe the gnomes want to take a nap. Maybe one of them, they don't. I mean, I love reading, but maybe some of them don't want to be. I don't know. It was a weird thing to be very. She was very intense about it.
I can imagine.
I don't know. Book events are always a mixed bag.
When people have loads of gnomes in the garden, can you trust these people? I mean, no disrespect, but it's creepy. Is that just me?
It's not. No, one of my neighbors growing up had several gnomes and other little ceramic, a little donkey and things all over her yard. And it's just sort of a low level, are those things coming alive at night to get to me? I mean, there's just something spooky about them, though. I mean, I'm sure a lot of very normal people love them and think they're adorable. But I'm not normal. I'm a weirdo. So for me, they're terrible.
Can I tell you that all I want to find in life, anywhere, is a blow mold donkey like lamp, like from a nativity scene, but like the old ones.
Yeah.
All I want is to have one of those in my house as a lamp, and it's got to be a donkey. I've wanted one for 15 years now, and I have no idea why. Just want one.
My grandma has a big cement goose that she has outside her front door. She's had for, I don't know, at least 20 years, something, at least, if not longer. And she dresses it up. Like it has different, this goose might have more outfits than I do. And originally she made the outfits for the goose, but then like she found a company that makes them and it's cheaper. And so she orders goose outfits. And I just like someday I want to inherit that goose.
That's amazing.
I want to get it out.
I hope that you will.
Does it have a proper little wardrobe for all its outfits as well?
I'm not sure where she keeps them. I think they've. I mean, it must have kind of at least space in a closet because, like I said, there are lots. I know it's got a Halloween outfit where it's Frankenstein. It's got a leprechaun outfit. It's got golfing. There's a golf gear outfit. Pretty much every major holiday, at least, it has a little.
So
that's
good.
weird. That's a wonderful. I adore that in every single way possible. That's amazing.
But you think there are so many people that have this that there's a part of a catalog where you can order outfits for your cement goose. It's a big enough industry that some companies
can't criticize this because Halloween skeletons, right? I've got a little one. It's small, and I'll make outfits for it to like. Supposedly for the podcast, but
no, you do it for yourself.
I'm doing it for myself. But you know is it the Walmart sold those huge 2-story skeletons? You cannot tell me that there's not companies out there specifically producing things just for people to put on these huge skeletons in their yards.
They must.
Etsy, man. Etsy's a weird, wonderful place. It sells you anything and makes you anything. It's wonderful.
I found I think it was for Christmas last year or something for my son the little one who's obsessed with Jason from the horror movies. He's not allowed to watch those horror movies because he's 6, but he's obsessed anyway. But I found on Etsy bath bombs that are Jason's mask, and they turn the water blood red, and he was so happy. He's obsessed with bath bombs now, but specifically because he's like, it's like I'm in a bathtub full of blood. I'm like, wow, I've really messed you up, haven't I, kid?
You've got him started just right.
Real.
You're parenting right.
Into it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Should we move on to the next question, Amanda?
Yes, let's move on to the next question. This is my favorite question that I think maybe perhaps has ever been asked on Would You Rather before. Would you rather be aroused by a sexy Bigfoot or a UPS delivery person's outfit? Not combined.
Damn it.
I mean, frankly, I'm going with Bigfoot because for me, the UPS outfit, I mean, they're lovely people, I'm sure. It's not, it doesn't do anything for me. And I know that there's a whole section in the internet bookstore about Bigfoot. Honestly, I don't really want either, but if I have to pick one,
my favorite was when posing this question to Claire, I sent her a sexy UPS driver, just for an example. Because that's a thing too. I don't get it.
Our search history is just the most peculiar things. We send each other the most random stuff when we're posing questions and coming up with ideas for things. We need examples. Here's 1,000 pictures of a clown.
Yes.
I've deleted my search history after that one.
And now that
Bigfoot or UPS.
Now that we've started calling Facebook a testicle in an ugly hat, now we have that drawing, which can send that to you, Lish, if you want to join in on the testicle drawings.
My search history is already a mess. I mean, the stuff I have to Google for book research.
You have that excuse. We don't.
We're just weird.
I mean, there's my weirdness too. So if you combine the two,
have you had any phone calls
It
from the
means-
internet company going, excuse me, Lish, we need to have a word?
I haven't, but I have to be on a list somewhere. I mean, like for Necromancer the Stone, I know I had to Google like rates of decay, like on a body, like how, because Douglas, like how together his body would stay. For when I did Firebug, there was a lot of like how the best way to blow up a car, and can you track phones without SIM cards, and like, yeah.
And now you're a murderer on the internet.
I look definitely.
See, if you use Google Scholar, everybody thinks you're just writing some weird research paper, and you can kind of like circumvent a little bit. Anywho, sexy Bigfoot Amanda or UPS delivery person's outfit?
Neither. I don't
You
want
have
to pick.
to.
I don't want to
You
pick.
have to. You have to.
Think about it this way: Sexy Gary, at least, like he has the ability to make himself look not like a
He
Bigfoot,
does.
doesn't
He
he? Or
does. He wears that charm.
Yeah.
See, I'm going to go sexy Bigfoot
Yeah.
because I'm pretty much already married to one. So, you know, my man has that hair.
Mm-mm.
You know, I can run my fingers through his chest.
Ugh, that grosses me out. I am married to the exact opposite, like naturally no body hair, and I prefer that. So I guess I'm gonna have to go with the UPS delivery guy's outfit. I mean, brown shorts could be attractive. Are they short shorts? Can we modify the outfit? Like tie the shirt up?
Do you know the worst thing about
Shorts?
shorts? It's when men wear shorts, but they do the William Riker pose where they just put the foot up just a little bit too high and then gently thrust the
Their
one just
testicles
slightly,
fall out?
slightly, yeah, exactly, slightly too farther, and then the ugly testicle wearing a drops out. Testicle wearing an ugly hat just suddenly peeps out, and it's like, hello. It's like, no, don't do that.
Over here, like the shorts that men wear tend to be really
Yeah.
long. Like, I mean, like knee
They're
length.
supposed to
And
be.
so that's less.
It would be bad if an ugly testicle fell out of a long shorts.
That would be
Yeah.
very bad. I'd be concerned. That's sensible, you see, but there's always that one person who just wears shorts just too short. And it's always the person who puts the knee
Yeah.
up and just gently thrusts out. And like, hello, I'm talking to you about this.
Oh.
You can't.
There was a man I remember that came into the first library that I worked at, and he always wore the same outfit, and he was very like leathery tanned, and he wore the shortest denim cutoffs that have ever been. You know when like the girls wear the tiny booty shorts and their front pockets hang out?
Yeah.
Daisy Duke.
Yes, but like
Yeah.
less than a Daisy Duke. And so he's wearing these, and he like a macrame shirt, and that's just what he wore.
Was he a time traveler from 1970? Like, I want to know, like that has to be. Then that's why he never had anything
Right,
to change
'cause
into. Because he was hopping back and forth on the same day.
Yeah, he must have been that. But every time he came into the library, it was the same outfit, and he would always get in front of the circulation desk in like, you know, in the stacks far away and do like a wide leg squat to get books off the bottom shelf. It was good times.
Next question.
The story, like,
Would you rather have waffles with Ashley or coffee with Ed? Oh, Ed.
I had a hard time with this one because I love both waffles and coffee, and Ashley's awesome, but sitting there and having coffee with someone who has a jackal head, I think I'd have to talk to Ed, even though I think I'd get really frustrated that he wouldn't be able to answer any of my questions. Because I'd want to know, like, tell me about the afterlife, and he'd be like, nope,
Not
cannot do.
yet.
But he
And
would.
then he looks at his
Really
watch
cool.
and then looks back at you.
Mm.
Give him 5.
Also,
Are you sure
would
with that
you
one?
be asking him questions out loud and he's responding in your head? Because then you look like you're bonkers.
you're talking to a jackal-headed like creature. Okay, can they see Ed? That's the question.
Nobody's paying attention to that part.
I mean, maybe he's just having coffee in my house, and it wouldn't matter.
Okay.
Like maybe we're not in a cafe.
You're not having public coffee with Ed. Regardless of what I'm having it with Ed because I love Ed. I've loved Ed ever since Heads Will Roll. When we did that on our live, Ed was just everything. So I have to pick Ed.
He's very entertaining.
Oh.
I love him. I'm glad he got to come back.
But Ashley
is great.
I'm going to have waffles with Ashley, and we're going to have it in a Waffle House, and I'm going to finally have Waffle House hash browns.
Okay.
Mother covered diced and
Yes,
sliced.
please. Yep.
So we'll go.
Right.
That's the last Would You Rather question.
Yes, that was the end of Would You Rather. I'm glad we ended with
Now,
that one
Keanu
and not
moves.
the one that led us to talking about testicles. So let's move on to things that are not Would You Rather related.
Would you rather
specifically-
adjacent?
Yes. Most specifically, why? Why Keanu? Why Keanu?
You know, I'm trying to remember because so I know that like when I was dealing with this book, my agent and I were brainstorming like good celebrities that would be good zombies or ones we would think would be zombies, and I can't remember why we picked Keanu. I mean, I think I just love Keanu, and I wanted to make jokes in there about things being afoot at Circle K. But like, I also feel kind of bad because like I feel like the book sort of does Keanu dirty, and I wanted. That's another thing. Like third Sam book. I wanted to redeem Minion. I wanted to do something with Keanu, but
It was more satirical for me than
I guess-
like, you know, it wasn't being mean or anything. It was more satirical because he knows exactly the perceptions that he has and his acting abilities, depending on the role.
yeah, no, he can be quite good. And you know the joke, there's a line in there that James says where you've done, you know, the last thing you did that was good was which one did it? He lists a movie. Oh, Finding My Own Private Idaho, I think. That was actually, I think, a straight quote from my agent. And since then, like, because this book is older. Keanu's really like made, I feel like, a huge comeback too. Where I mean, he's never gone, but he's been in some like, I mean, John Wick was amazing.
Pleased to be having behind me.
Yeah, I only have Bogus Journey back here.
That's
So I mean, like, I feel like there's a lot there, but it was done out of love. Like, I really do. I think deeply, the deep love.
well, that's it. If you didn't like the character Minion, or the person who was cast as Minion, you would be meaner about it, and they wouldn't go back to Hollywood.
Yeah. That's true.
I just love him. It was, as much as I love these books, and I do so much, we were talking earlier about how Sam is just the best main character that we've read in a long time. And like, just as much as I love them, Keanu was my favorite part of this book because it was just so ridiculous. And I loved him sitting on the ground eating grass. And I don't know why, but it was just... And I was reading the chapter where he's making all the quotes. You know, he's tied up in the kitchen, and he's like, "Oh, can I drive? I won't go over 50." Like, I was crying reading this chapter in the middle of the night. I love it. This is for you. And for Keanu.
Polite golf clap from my side. Yes, it was just amazing. I said to Amanda earlier as well that as I was listening, because I listened to the audiobook version, and then as I'm listening to it, I'm going, is that Keanu? And I had to rewind and listen to it again. I'm going, Minion's Keanu. Oh my God. And I think I was actually a little bit ahead listening to it from Amanda at the time, and I knew I couldn't message her to go, it's Keanu freaking Reeves. It's Keanu freaking Reeves in the book. But I was so desperate to. And then when she was like, it's Keanu Reeves, I was like, yes!
So good. And it's so weird. And we talked about this earlier too. It's so weird because books that we've covered the past few weeks, and my corresponding cosplay, for one, I posted a picture of myself as Keanu Reeves, and then I read this one, and I was like, why the fuck did I post myself as Keanu then? I could have been Keanu now! And it was so weird. And then we, that was for The Girl in the Machine by Beth Revis, and I had to do something time travel related, so I picked an old Keanu picture. But then, with the Gnomes, too, we just read Going Bovine by Libba Bray, which features Balder, the gnome.
Oh, that book broke me.
So we're kicking ourselves because we could have had our book theme as Gnomes and Keanu this month and given people like 3 recommendations alone.
That's crazy. So,
I mean, those are all good books.
So you liked Going Bovine?
I did. I will never read it again because it did. Like, I can't anything that has that I find crushing. Like it doesn't end totally happily. Like, it's one that I'm like, oh, that was a really good book. I can't go through it again. But no, Libba Bray's, her writing is spectacular, and that book was so good. Like, I loved
yes.
Beauty Queens.
Yeah,
Beauty Queens.
We got to talk to her when we did that one. That was fun.
Yeah, no, I don't know her. I know Beth, but I don't know Libba Bray. But yeah, I loved Going Bovine, but it definitely
it was crushing.
There.
But that's how I felt with this one too, because Sam is so good, and he makes Douglas see how terrible he's been, and he's like, okay, well, just kill me then, because that's the only thing left for me. And you're like, ah, and then James is over there, and you're like sobbing because you just want to hug James.
I had a reader. I'm trying to remember. I was at some I think it was either a school event or a book event, and one of the kids was like, "Why did you do that? Why would you do that to me?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I don't like things to be just one way. I mean, no one's just a villain." And so, he was like, "Why would you make me sympathize with someone who's a terrible person?" I'm like, "Well, we don't just show up terrible. Like, there's an arc there." And I feel bad too, because like, this was not where I wanted to leave Sam. Like, I had planned there were going to be 3 books, and there was not. And so I left Sam somewhere I did not want to leave Sam. Which I think the next project I'm going to do for Patreon, I think, is going to be Sam. Because I want to finish. I don't know like what I'll do with it, but I want to finish that up. Because I hate where I left it.
But it was like a real place.
Yeah.
A bunch of shit has happened, and here he is, and he's still alive, and, everyone is there around him, and it's a shitty place, but it's also a good place. And so I feel like it's okay, because, Sam's just good, so things will have to turn out okay for him.
That's it. As a reader, I mean, I can understand as the writer, as the creator, it's, if you're not satisfied, you wanted more, you have more story to tell. But as a reader, it's not as if the series has suddenly ended. Like, we have that satisfaction, and it was very wholesome. And yeah, like Amanda's saying, he's in this bad place, but there's also that huge element of healing, especially if you think about like James' character and the way that Haley is talking to James and Sam while they're eating the French toast. Things are going to get better. He's surrounded himself with those positive people. So you can it's kind of like left as at the moment, for a reader, it's like left in an open-ended way that you can take that story however you want it or however you need it to go. But I can understand from a writing point of view, you have Sam's story left, that his voice is still in your head, and you still have to write something out. And don't get me wrong, I want more.
I still get messages, like even like I'll post stuff for like Curses coming out, and it's like, is this still with Sam? Or when you get it's like, I still get messages about another Sam book. I'm like, I never wanted to not write Sam. It's just with publishing, you don't always get to choose. I mean, the nice thing is we did, like, the editor I was working with for book 1, and then I had a different editor for book 2, but they were friends. Were both really great. They wanted it to be, kind of a series, but each book had to be sort of self-contained. And so that was the nice thing about having to leave it with book 2, was there was no just like, kind of drop off. There was at least some sort of tie up there where you felt, okay with leaving it there. I just don't
No.
want to leave it there.
I was very surprised by Douglas's ending. Like, they say about the kids that you met at the school events. It seemed such a gentle ending for such a horrible person. But then it's completely appropriate for Sam to do that. And to be fair, I actually thought he was going to give Douglas over to the pack and let the pack deal with him.
That would have been violent.
It didn't even occur to me, actually.
Pack justice, man. Tooth and claw.
Brid with her double swords just whirling him up.
I love Brid. She is such a badass.
She could probably jump off a horse and land on her feet.
Easy.
She probably could.
She'll probably know the horse, actually. It might be a friend of hers.
There's never horse shapeshifters. It's always like I've gotten into this when the first book came out. I got into an argument on the internet with people about shapeshifters.
Is My Lady
I don't
Jane.
think we talked about that.
My Lady Jane is a horse shifter.
Yeah.
Is a horse shapeshifter?
Call me G.
Because usually it's always predators in mythology. If you go through the mythology, it's all except for swan manes. That's the only mythology-based shapeshifter that is not a predator. So arguably, swans are jerks.
Yes.
That's how we ended up with the were-rabbits in Eva books, because I got in an argument on the internet with people about like why couldn't you make something not predatory shapeshifter? And everyone got mad about it. It was like, because that would be dumb. You have to. And I'm like, no, you know what? Now I just want to take the cutest, fluffiest thing and make it a shapeshifter.
I've seen Monty Python. Rabbits not cute,
it.
fluffy things. They've got big, sharp, pointy teeth.
They're actually quite mean. Rabbits and I don't get along. We don't. I think they're cute over there, but I don't want them in my sphere.
There's a ferret shifter in My Lady Jane as well. And that was pretty good.
And so I clearly need to read My Lady
You
Jane.
really do. I read a book, oh my gosh, what's it called? Tantalize. And it's about a vampire restaurant. There's a were-possum in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's good.
Yeah.
I need to read the one.
I've only read the first one.
I've read a few shifter stuff, but
I just read it. I read it a few months ago. And that's part of the reason why I read it, was because I was like, oh, cool, other shapeshifters.
Need by Carrie Jones has, I think there's a werebear in that one and a tiger. I can't remember if there's any more tiny wholesome creatures. Maybe, I think there's also an eagle, maybe? That's a good series too.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean, they're just not a lot.
there's a series that has reptilians in as well. Where's, and I can't remember for the life of me. Am I thinking Gail Carriger, the Custard Protocol?
I don't
There's
know.
monkeys.
There's monkeys.
There's foxes.
And a lion. And a dragon.
That might be what I'm thinking.
I think I read all of her books, except for I'm missing one or two of them that I have not read. And so I think those were in the ones I haven't read.
Yeah.
The Kate Daniels series that Alona Andrews does has, I think, one sort of reptile shapeshifter.
I'm busy looking at them right now. But it's the set that I'm sure it does. But it has it's been so long since I've read them. Does it have boars in there as well? I know it has tiger. I know it has lions. Hyenas.
There's hyenas. I'm trying to remember if there's boars. I know that. What else the other ones that they have? There's rats. I don't know if there's boars. I don't remember boars.
Yeah. It'll come to me. I know at 3 o'clock in the morning I'll suddenly go, ah! And then I'll probably put it on the internet, and then it won't be 3 o'clock in the morning for you guys, so it's fine.
So you'll see it.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, I tend to be up late anyway, so. I mean.
So good. Claire, you kind of had a follow-up question to the why Keanu. Would you like to ask the follow-up?
Oh, it's because we were talking about Jeff Goldblum being the sexiest man in video from the last episode. So it's like, well, why Keanu? Why not Jeff Goldblum? So, is Jeff Goldblum still the sexiest man in video, and therefore, what is Keanu?
Whose internet is frozen this time? It's Lish. Her internet's frozen. Oh, we're cursed.
We are.
She really looks like
cursed.
She really looks like she's like pondering
Thinking
the
about
answer
it.
to this question. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair,
Yeah.
this is a question that does deserve good concentration and thought.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited to learn the answer whenever her internet comes back.
I found Keanu Reeves songs, by the way.
Songs that mention Keanu Reeves by name.
Some of them have words that I am not of the appropriateness to say them.
It's good. It's good to
But
know.
there are. Is he not in a band himself? Or am I thinking of something else?
Yes, he is. I think he plays the bass. But yeah, he's in a band.
But yeah. This is good. I'm looking at some of them and I've got some favourites.
What are they?
Okay, so some of them aren't in English, so I'm gonna... Keanu Reeves up in this bitch. Keanu Reeves up in this bitch. Keanu Reeves up in this bitch. There you go. Our love is like Keanu Reeves, who's made some really bad movies. That's all the time you can't.
Oh.
Leave no man alive like I'm Keanu Reeves. Okay, you talking to me. I think you.
Good.
I'm making speed like I'm Keanu Reeves, but too many true lies can make a honey.
Okay.
That's LL Cool J for you.
Good. That's good. She's back. She's back.
I've just been reading Keanu Reeves lyrics.
That's fine.
Yeah, it was good. You missed out on some good ones.
So I got the first part of the question was Jeff Goldblum, and then I lost it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum, as we learned in the last chat, is the sexiest man on video. And we've used that line many, many times. So
We
if
have.
Jeff Goldblum is the sexiest man on video, what is Keanu?
Oh my gosh, who would be? Because I mean, he
We ask
stems,
the hard questions here at Fictional Hangover.
We do.
he
We
stems,
do.
he stems from the video days as well. So I can't even just say like sexiest man on DVD. I mean, he's what would you call Keanu Reeves? I've got nothing.
Do we need to have a Jeff Goldblum and Keanu Reeves kind of like...
Celebrity deathmatch.
I don't want to say... Yeah?
I think Keanu would win. I'm not gonna lie.
I think he would too. I think
Jeff Goldblum's wily though. He's wily.
He would question it too much. He would think about it too much.
He would overthink. He'd be trying to think of something clever, and in that time, Keanu Reeves would have just punched him in the face. I think that was just.
Yep.
But Keanu's intensely patient as well.
I feel like they would just become best friends and maybe go find a jazz bar to hang out in if jazz bars still exist. I don't know if they do. They do in New Orleans, but anywhere else, I don't know.
They will make a jazz bar will suddenly pop up just for them.
Yeah.
They'll just manifest one out of
Yes.
nothing.
Yes.
And Jeff Goldblum will play a song, and maybe Keanu will make sandwiches for them, and they'll just be best friends.
I love it. Can this be the next buddy comedy? Keanu Reeves and Jeff Goldblum.
I just feel like
Yep.
Keanu Reeves would just be best friends with everybody.
I want to be best friends with Keanu Reeves.
I want to be best friends with Keanu Reeves too.
Who doesn't?
And if Keanu would like to sponsor the podcast. So, earlier I searched Keanu Reeves song lyrics. And lyrics.com have found we found 147 lyrics, 36 artists, and 49 albums matching Keanu Reeves. And I'm going to give you some.
He had a band. I forgot he had a band.
Yeah, he had a band.
So there might be some of them. I think was it Dog Star. Some of them are going to be Dog Star.
So what's this one? I'm the one, bitch. I'm the one like Keanu Reeves. Get it done, yeah. Get it done. No blood on the leaves. They can't leave us hanging. Some lyrics don't make much sense to me.
No.
John Wick with the stick, Keanu Reeves. I'm a legend just like Virgil. Touchdown. I'm like Herschel. Jetpack.
Jetpack is the best part of that.
This is poetry. And then there's blow the candle to the wick. Keanu Reeves up in this bitch. Keanu Reeves up in this bitch. Keanu Reeves up in this bitch. But don't linger.
I feel like
Yep.
the Wick aspect is going to bring in a lot of the Keanu Reeves lyrics. John Wick.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll
Yeah.
give you this one. Stuck in the Matrix like Keanu Reeves. And then the rest is in a language I don't understand.
That is really great. I think my favorite part about you reading lyrics is that clearly some of these are rap songs and you're reciting them like so poetically.
I got a cold heart like I'm Mr. Freeze. I'm a dodge a bullet think I'm Keanu Reeves. Yeah.
It makes me think of
That's
I
good.
don't know if any of you in school had that assignment where you had to recite a poem. And there was always at least one kid in the class who picked song lyrics instead of an actual poem. So was that one kid?
Was that you?
No, I picked an actual poem. I liked poetry, and so like it was for me. It was I'm like, oh, this is great. I was a nerd, so I was all over it. But
I picked a haiku because I thought it was short and over quick.
Yeah, I think we were forbidden to pick haikus. I think we had to pick a certain length of poem, and I have no idea what I picked. But I know it wasn't a song lyric.
My English teacher was one of those where if you showed any kind of ingenuity, it would just like instant A. So you didn't even need to do that much. So I think we got given an anthology of poetry to use for our exams, and that was it. That was for 2 years. That was the book that you needed. And all I did was like turn 3 pages along, and there was a load of haiku, so I just used them.
It's really good.
I'm reading LL Cool J now.
It's
cool.
It's really good. I don't prefer poetry. And if I did choose poetry, I would go with a limerick. Because they're the best.
They're filthy, which is great.
Yeah.
Well, I have some friends that are poets and who are quite good at it. I cannot write poetry. Like I physically can. It's just not good. So, but I have some friends who are actually quite good at it, which is nice. And so I have one in particular that will recommend poetry to me that she knows that I'll like. And there's a book that she told me to read that's from a poet local to me that's all sort of it's got a lot of sci-fi and kind of pop culture references in it, which are really funny.
Ooh.
Some humor in it. I like funny poetry. I'm blanking on the name of it right now, but I do read it occasionally.
Everybody thinks poetry is always Wordsworth and William Blake. It's not. There are others. It's just they're the ones that are unfortunately shoved down your throats during school years. A little bit like Shakespeare, so that's all you kind of think there is.
But I went to school with some really good poets, and so I know it's out there, and there are good things to read.
It exists.
It's very.
I just don't think I'm emotionally advanced enough to enjoy poetry.
It's a different mindset, and for me, it has to be some ones that are almost more like a little story, where it's like the very compressed sort of. Anything that's really sort of out there, I have a harder time with. But one that tells like a clear story, I can do.
Maybe if I listened to it rather than read it, I would probably find it a bit more accessible.
Yeah.
Let's stop talking about poetry. Let's talk about something.
Let's talk about another type of poetry. Gnome names.
Gnome names. So good.
We need to loop back around to that because it's just genius. I love everything and all of it about it.
The gnomes were so fun. They really were. I miss the gnomes.
What would your gnome name be? If you could bestow your own gnome name. That is really difficult to say. Gnome name.
Gnome name? Gnome name. It is hard to say.
Gnome name.
My own gnome. I don't know what my gnome name would be. It's like a completely, because I tried to think of ones for you too, and my main that sort of the brain broke and I couldn't think of anything.
Because it was like with stuff they watched on TV, wasn't it? So what's the last? We need to come up with the generate your gnome name thing that you always do on the internet, but not the what's the first letter of your name with your birth month. That's
it's never. I always get terrible.
Yeah.
If we went the last thing I watched, it was Manborg. I don't think it wasn't Manborg. It was Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. And so
Manbog, dark place.
Yeah, I don't know. Lishborg.
You've suddenly like developed cybernetic, pieces to your body. So you're a cyborg now. You're a cyborg gnome.
That would be a terrifying prospect.
It really would be.
But you've still got the red, like, gnomish hat, pointy hat of tradition.
But it like lights up at the end, I feel like.
I don't think I'd want to give a gnome unstoppable power. Like, I just think I don't want them heavily armed. I think that would cause a lot of problems. They don't really have much restraint.
I don't know if we give you sufficient jam, you'll be fine. Gnomes cheap.
Yeah, I couldn't come up with anything.
They're so good.
I tried to think of good gnome names. I'm gonna keep thinking on it. I'll send them to you.
Definitely need to come up with a gnome generator.
We did. It's funny. I think with my original, I think we talked about doing that. We just never got around to it. I don't know.
It's a new project.
New project. Do it. And then that's something you can take to your Patreons.
Fictional Hangover needs to be a patron of you. Don't let me forget to do that.
We will set it up.
It's fun. It's mostly, I use it mostly as an excuse right now to draft things that I don't really have time to work on. So the last one was it ended up being the whole novel of Lena from Heads Will Roll, where she had her own book.
Oh, yeah, we love Lena.
Yeah. So
Claire, we have that in our email.
I know. Somewhere. I can send you the whole thing now, though, because it's done. So I can send you the whole
thing. Yeah, I need to read the rest of it.
Yes.
And then, which eventually I'm gonna hand it off and have somebody edit it for me, and then I'll just put it up myself.
Nice.
It was fun because I got to work in everybody. Like Sam makes a cameo, and Ed makes a cameo, and characters from Firebug are in there, and it was a good time.
Good. So something else that I really liked about this book, and it's the same thing that I liked about the first one, is that it's set where I live, and so that makes me happy, especially in this one where Sexy Gary is chilling on Cougar Mountain, and Cougar Mountain is like one of my favorite places to go. So there's a lot of hiking in this one, and I've recently been getting into hiking and doing some urban and non-urban hiking. So I was just really stoked to read that in this one. I'm like, oh, that's me. That's what I like to do. So where's your favorite place to hike?
I don't really do any urban hiking.
And will I see you there? If I go?
I haven't gone in ages. I don't really do, because Seattle's quite hilly, and it's, I go on walks and stuff here, but if I'm downtown at all, it's just a nightmare. Like I have asthma, and so sometimes the hiking is hard. And we used to go fairly, because that was actually part of the reason why we moved back, is because with Washington, there's so much nature stuff to go do. But for the last year or so, my husband's been having back issues, and so we haven't been out as much. But we've gone and done little day hikes with the kids over the years. There's some good ones out by Snoqualmie. Was it Twin Falls? I think we did. We accidentally went on a hike. We went up to check out Rattlesnake Lake, which is a nice little lake. And there was a little hiking trail
with actual rattlesnakes.
There's no rattlesnakes. We don't really have.
They don't live here.
I don't know why it's called that. Who knows?
That's my favorite part of that lake, because they don't exist here.
But it's beautiful. It's a beautiful little lake, and we were there and my mom was there, and there's a little hiking trail that goes up, and you can see a view. And my husband's like, well, he looks it up on his phone. He looked it up incorrectly on his phone. He's like, oh, it's short. It doesn't really go up that high. I'm like, all right, cool. It was not cool. I didn't make it all the way. We started going up, and we're like, this is much, much harder than I thought it was going to be. And the kids were not really dressed for hiking. One of my son's friends was with us, and he was just wearing sort of aqua socks with no real shoe. Or, yeah. So basically, by the time we came back down, the kids made it all the way up. My husband and the kids made it to the top. I got close before I tapped out. My mom, I think, only made it a mile. Then and was like, nope, and went back. But by the time we were done, we all felt like, I mean, just sweaty death. And so we ended up stopping at like the nearby town and getting dinner, and we were all dehydrated because we had not planned on hiking. We didn't have water bottles. We didn't have any of the gear that makes hiking helpful. And it was a really busy trail too, and a ton of people were coming up and down it with like their own little speakers and stuff playing music, which I found
I hate that.
really irritating because I mean, if you want music, wear headphones. But it means that like there's no chance you're going to see any wildlife whatsoever because you're making too much noise, and that's part of the reason I like to go. Yeah. So that was kind of annoying. It was lovely though. It was beautiful. I just make it.
We went to Poo Poo Point and hiked up it, and then I got terrified because it was really high up, and heights are not my thing, so we had to come back down.
I did. My dad, when I was a kid, we decided to take me on a hike, do like a father-daughter hike, which was a terrible idea. Along with my friend and her dad, and we climbed a small mountain. We climbed Mount Adams, and I think a mile in, it's like a 7-mile hike. A mile in, I slipped, fell, and put my hand like on a flat rock, and I grabbed what looked like to be very stable rocks to the side that they were not, and so these boulders like smashed 2 of my fingers. And my dad was like, well, you have 2 options. You can go back to the car, or you can finish the hike. And I'm like, well, I don't want to sit by myself in a car for hours. I didn't have a book with me or anything, so I'm like, that seems dangerous. And so I had to continue the hike, and the other dad had a first aid kit and like bound 2 of my fingers, and it was a nightmare. I mean, by like the part where you're kind of actually sort of climbing a little bit, and I have a damaged hand, and like I think I had a ice pick, and it was definitely like, this is the last time we're going hiking together, and it was. But yeah,
yikes.
My nails fell off, like they really got smashed. They weren't broken, thankfully, but it was a lovely mountain. If I hadn't smashed my hand, I probably would have been fine.
Puts a crimp on the bonding thing, doesn't it, really?
It does. They always did, too. Like, our bonding trips were never successful.
So can we just go to the cinema where we're technically with each other, but we don't have to talk, and we can just enjoy a movie, eat some popcorn?
There you go.
I like those bonding sessions.
Those are the best.
Oh my god. Hiking's dangerous. Oh my god. Like, we don't really have any, where I live, we don't really have any hiking places. You have to travel, like, get in the car and then travel a distance to get anywhere, like go to the Pennines or the Peak District or the Lake District or even to the Scottish borders in Northumberland. You still have to go probably about an hour's drive away. Which in the UK is a long way.
Yeah. And, like, I think, I mean, where I live, you could probably go like a half an hour and get like some little day hikes, nothing crazy. I did a little bit of hiking in Scotland when I was there. It was really nice. But I'm not really in like the best shape for any sort of like. I did the walk. Was it the walk of Leith or whatever, that one that's like it's like a 10-mile era Edinburgh, and by the end of it, I couldn't feel my legs. I was very worried.
Edinburgh is very hilly as well, and the unforgiving hills. One day I will walk up Arthur's Seat, but
I did that.
I'm not fit enough for that.
I did that, and it was only because like my friend was like, on the other side there's a pub. If you can just make it a little farther, then we'll take you to the pub, and you'll be fine.
I'm sorry, but that is no excuse, because knowing Edinburgh, and I've been a few times, there's a freaking pub everywhere. You don't have to walk up Arthur's Seat, which used to be a volcano, Amanda, to get to a pub. They're everywhere.
I'm a fan of volcanoes.
There's a lot here. We have a lot of volcanoes. The Walk of Leith, that was the same way they got me to the end of that. Well, I was already like mostly to the end, and he was like, "If you can just make it, I'll buy you a drink in the pub, and then you won't care about your legs anymore." It was lovely. I don't regret it. I definitely wish I'd been in better shape, because I'm not.
Yeah.
right? Very sedentary. I don't go on
Yeah.
daily 10-mile jaunts.
No, I'm not fit enough for Arthur seat. I used to be, and I was going to. We had a trip to Edinburgh all planned, and during that trip we were going to go up Arthur's seat, but then couldn't go because I had a baby instead. So didn't happen.
Planned it that way.
Yes, exactly. We boinked purposefully so I didn't have to go up a mountain.
It's good. You did the math. You worked it out. Terrible. Terrible.
From one heartwarming subject to another.
Ooh, good segue. It's terrible. So, how do you do it? How do you make a book about a necromancer so goddamn heartwarming? Because, you think necromancer, you think, well, death, zombies, guts, blood. No.
Cobwebs, undead.
Just the most delightful main character ever.
Part of it I sort of wanted to explore in the first place. Because part of Sam's sort of genesis was two different things. One, reading, I'd been reading a couple of series that had necromancers, and it tends to be sort of a blood-based magical power. And I was thinking about, how would I handle that sort of magic when, I don't eat meat either. Because if I'm not willing to kill it myself, then I feel like I need it. But and I was like, what would happen if I had to deal with this power where you have to use it? You can't just ignore it. But in order to use it, you have to hurt something else. And so I was kind of thinking about that, combined with the fact that most of those books, the male character tends to be pretty alpha, kind of the badass character, and most of the guys I knew in high school weren't like that. They were they were more like Sam. And I was like, well, what would it look like if you combine those two things? If you put that kind of person with that kind of power in this situation, and how would they cope? And so that's what a lot of it was specifically looking at that. What would happen if someone who's basically just a very sweet person who's screwed up a lot, doesn't really know what he's doing, gets thrust into a situation that's well outside of his scope. And how would he manage? And luckily Sam has friends. Those I don't think he would have made it very far without them.
Oh no, he definitely wouldn't have.
It's one of the things we said, wasn't it? His Fed group is just amazing.
The best.
Who would be in your Cuddle Shark?
Cuddle Shark.
My husband is the Cuddle Shark. I can't remember if he started it. I can't remember, because we've been together a long time, since I was 21, I think. Yeah, the Cuddle Shark. So I can't remember if he started it or my roommate started it, but I had friends who would just randomly Cuddle Shark you. They just jump, Cuddle Shark, and I can't remember. Anyway, you have a question.
Cuddle Shark was so good.
I didn't come up with it.
Wait,
who would be in your Cuddle Shark then? You're standing there, just, minding your own business, and then all of a sudden, all you hear is the shouts of Cuddle Shark, and then squished. You are being squished. Who was squishing
out
you?
of my friend group or out of fictional characters?
Both.
My friend.
All of them.
Usually, like I said, it was usually my now husband Adam, and he would grab probably me and my roommate Devin, because we're sort of we're more of the bitey kind of. We're in the bitey, like my friend and I, we're not huggers really, but my husband is, and so I think Sharp sort of his excuse to sort of give us love, even though we're basically feral cats. It was a slow acclimation process getting us adjusted to hugging people. For fictional characters, I would hug most of them now.
Who would you give the biggest hug out of Sam's book?
Out of the Sam book?
Keanu Reeves.
I would.
Question will go to you as well, Amanda.
I would want to hug Keanu.
Oh, I've already answered it. Keanu Reeves.
The Sam books.
I would hug James.
I feel like James would really need one, or Frank. Frank could use a good.
Frank.
Poor Frank.
It's a good job
James
they're all,
would be...
they're all in the same Cuddle Shark house.
Well, that's like when I
down
was
the hallway as a gauntlet.
Yeah, the places I lived when I was in my like early 20s, it's like roommates that were like that. I mean, it was just kind of we definitely also had problem roommates. Don't get me wrong, but Cuddle Shark was one thing that was sort of like how the house showed affection, and the other one that I loved. It's one that sometimes we still utilize, but we figured out that it's impossible to feel sad or upset about something if people are dancing around you. And so we made a house rule. So if you walked into a room and you held your arms up like this, sort of like making a little like goalpost, whoever had to drop what they were doing and dance around you just for a couple of seconds or something. And because it's impossible. Like, try it. It is impossible to feel grumpy if people are, let's admit it, dancing poorly around you on top of it. And so it was one of the house rules that I really enjoyed, and we still sometimes utilize when I see, because I'm still friends with a lot of the people I live with. And so the thing about
the fan of poor dancing.
Yeah.
The thing about the kind of friend groups in the Sam books is a lot of my friends were like that. And so it's less about me being creative and more about stealing directly from the people that I knew with their permission. I mean,
you write what you know, though.
Yeah,
that's
I know some very
what you know.
I know some very goofy, weird, adorable, creative people, and so definitely
creatures from the dead.
Yes. Probably. So one of them probably. I wouldn't be surprised.
There's at least one of them raises people from the dead. There's another one that's most definitely a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Bigfoot or big feet? What's the plural?
No. Sasquatches? Big feet? I think it'd be big feet?
No, that you're cheating.
Bigfoots? Big feets?
Sasquatches.
That line made me chuckle in the book when the narrator went, Bigfoot? Big feet? I thought, is that actually in the book? Or was that the narrator just putting his own spin on it? Because I'm there.
It was in the book, in parentheses, too.
Nice.
When I try to look it up, it says the plural would be either Bigfoot, Big Feet, or Bigfoots, and that's not helpful.
Google letting us down again.
Google's terrible. I'm gonna have to look into this. The Bigfoot question.
I prefer Bigfoots.
I would say Bigfoot is a plural. It's a singular and the plural.
Yeah. Could be. It could be anything we want.
Can be. It's true.
Unless one of us has a Sasquatch that they know of, and I'm looking at a certain person who more than likely would.
We live in the region.
I don't know.
We live in the region of Bigfoot.
I really want to go Sasquatching. I want the hat. Amanda did send me a Bigfoot magnet, which graces the front of my fridge.
Yeah, it's one of our local mythologies. Bigfoot.
I'll send you a hat next time, Claire.
Squatch.
Yeah. I'll find the worst one.
Yes, I need an ugly hat. A
Yes.
Squatching ugly hat.
Yes. It's better than a testicle in an ugly hat.
That's evolved and taken on a mind of its own, unfortunately.
It really has. It really, really has. I'm so glad I accidentally came up with that term, and now it's never going away.
The amount of
It's good.
ugly hat wearing testicles I have in my phone photo album's ridiculous.
It's so good. It's so good. It
Anywho.
really is. Anywho, let's stop talking about that again. So, it's almost time for curses.
Yes.
Almost time. We're excited. What's going on with that? Are there signings? Are there tours? Are there giveaways? Is there any social media we can help with? Because we like to do that. Because we like you.
It's like you would think You would think I would know a lot of these things that I don't. And it's because the author usually is the last person to know. I know we're not touring because COVID. A lot of bookstores aren't in storefronts. We're gonna do like a virtual event through Third Place Books, which is is my local bookstore. I think July 19th. And I know we're gonna do some pre-order stuff for that. I haven't gotten the sketches back for my friend that did the design work for my Sexy Gary swag and stuff. He's doing that. We've had some chats about it. I'm really excited. But as soon as I can post those, I will. I think we're gonna do some fun character stuff, and then there's a creature in the book called a flagger, which is basically the badger with wings. And so he's gonna do, I think, something flag related. It's a weird. I mean, all my books are weird. It's a weird book, but it's my ironically, it's called Curses, even though like it's I think the one book I have that doesn't really have any swearing in it.
Oh, shame.
Beyond like ass. I know I didn't do it on purpose, but it is my nicest book in the sense that there's not really any bloodshed. There aren't really horror elements in it at all. It's just kind of a goofy romp. I don't know.
Is there magic and whimsy in it?
It is basically all whimsy. I mean, it's
good.
As I pointedly look at Amanda because we have our schedule to fill.
Yes, our October theme is magic and whimsy, so go ahead and get ready to come back, all right?
I know we're gonna do some things, which hopefully I'll be posting soon beyond the Zoom thing. And then they're doing an audiobook for it, which is really great. I usually don't have a lot of feedback in those. Like basically they just make it and like, here's your audiobook. Not complaining about that because yay, audiobook. But Curses, I actually had a little bit of input, which was really nice. They talked to me about.
Isn't it the same person who did Flavia de Luce?
Yeah. Jane What's up?
Because I love those are good books.
Which is, I mean, this
the audio's great.
I got to vote on the narrators. The other ones I never got to pick. They just, like I said, the book was just done and they handed it to me. With this one, the producer contacted me and was like, here's the short list of who I'm thinking, and wanted to know if I had any suggestions. And I didn't know her name at that point, but when I played Jane's, I recognized her voice immediately because I loved the Flavia de Luce audiobooks. And so we all agreed on her, and we lucked out that she agreed to do it. And so I'm excited to see kind of what she does and her take on it. But yeah, it's very goofy, weird book. I don't know how people are going to take to it.
I'm excited.
We'll see.
Yes.
I'm excited.
To it on lots of levels.
I mean, I've been working on this book forever. Like I've never had a book that was so hard to get done. I don't know what it was, but years on this book. Yeah, I had to keep rewriting it. It just didn't. Usually my process, like I write a draft, and then we do lots of revisions. So going through and like fixing things, and I think I add drafts on a book, which is a lot. But with Curses, I had to completely rewrite it. I don't know, like 4 or 5 times, which I've never had to do on a book before, and then revise it. So, like we just could not get it together. And honestly, when my agent and I were sending it out, we didn't know if anyone would want it. I'd left my old publisher. I wasn't under contract anymore. The numbers on Pyromantic were fairly low. And it was a weird book. And at this point, it wasn't like we'd revised it, but I knew it needed work. It was kind of a mess. And so I think both of us had pretty low expectations. I was like, well, maybe it'll go to like a smaller press and that'll be fine. But it was a book I wanted to do. And it just happened that it hit the right editor. It never actually even went out to anyone else. Like the Ari, my editor at Putnam, asked my agent to see it and to get kind of exclusive on it for days, and then got back to him and asked for a few more days, and then she preempted it. She didn't let it go to anyone else. which was great.
That's awesome.
It was a huge surprise because we're like, oh, okay. And Ari Lewin was my editor. It was a great fit. Like I work really well with Ari. She's very creative, and we have a similar, I think, wavelength. And so it's been, even though the book itself, the experience was crushing, trying to get it together, get it to work. Working with her was fantastic. And so I'm excited about it, but it's definitely been like, I worked on this a really long time, and I really hope people don't hate it. I mean, someone's going to. Someone always does, but I hope the majority of people enjoy it.
Don't read the comments. Never read the comments.
Oh, I never do. Yeah, I don't read reviews.
Just listen to us.
Well, I mean, like books.
Just listen to us. We got it.
It's such a personal thing. Like there are so many reasons why people don't like books that have nothing to do with whether or not the book is good. It's just personal. There's lots of books that make a seller list that everyone loves, and I read, and I'm like, it's not for me. We're just fine. That's why there's so many books out there.
Exactly.
Such a personal thing.
Exactly.
I love a good weird book full of whimsy, so I'm looking forward to it.
It's definitely weird. I don't think I can write a book that's not weird. I tried once. It didn't work.
That would be weird in
that
itself.
Would be like a normal book. Like, I say it normal, inverted commas, a normal story.
I think
because we'd be reading this isn't Lish. What's going on?
I know. I think when I first tried to write Curses, I think that's what I'm like, I'm going to write just a normal book. And then I think I got 20 pages before it was like, what did I have show up? Because all the fairy tale elements. And the thing is, like, fairy tales are super weird. And the original ones are really dark. And so I had a character show up, had a toad on his head. But if you didn't keep it fed, it would eat his face. Which I can't remember what fairy tale that's from. But he's only in there
a fairy tale I haven't read, and I need to. Quite clearly.
I'll have to find it. Yeah, and I think he's only in it now just like a little bit. He was more in the original draft. But I was like, well, clearly I just can't write a normal. So I'll just lean into it and just see what weird stuff comes out. There's a lot of weird stuff.
Amanda, I'm looking at you right now. You need to get a frog for your head now. You need to.
I do. Like, I need to know who I need to cosplay. Except for, with this one, I'm going to be Keanu again. Because I was already Keanu a few weeks ago. So I'm going to be Keanu again. And I'm super looking forward to that. But, if I can have a frog on my head, I'll do it.
Well, I
just want to take a picture with the frog on my head. I'm just going to get a frog to take a picture for when I've got the book in my hand and go, look, there's a frog on my head and I've got the book.
I've got two characters that are from fairy tales where one of them, when she speaks, flowers and jewels fall from her lips, and the other one, it's frogs and toads.
Oh, that's fun too.
Yeah, so I have those in there. There's a handsome troll prince who's kind of a jerk.
Of course.
Good. Is he a lovable asshole?
He's hilarious. He's very, what's the word I'm looking for? He's basically just decided to be shallow as his best bet. He's definitely he's one of the villains.
He's made a conscious decision to be shallow.
It just worked out for him. Yeah, he's gorgeous. He's just also small.
Hey, if it works for you, go for it.
Yeah. There's a dapper ostrich.
This sounds very looking. This sounds like you've kind of like drank a bit too much wine, watched Alice in Wonderland, woken up the next day and gone and read a fairy tale, and then going, yeah, this is what I'm going to make.
I mean,
please be having my stream of consciousness.
It's like I said, there's a lot of weird, because why not?
I'm so excited for it. I'm
totally
so excited for it. I love weird.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait for it.
Soon, was it July?
But now I kind of want to... It's soon.
Excellent.
It's very soon.
Ooh.
Which means getting my copy soon. I haven't seen it yet in real life. They didn't do physical arcs for the book, so I haven't seen it together yet. But soon, I should be getting my copy soon. I'll be very excited.
That's exciting. Put a frog on your head and send us a picture of it.
I can do that.
Good.
We're all going to end up
Please
with frogs
do.
in our heads, but this is just perfect.
We're taking it too far, which is what we do best.
Yeah, we're just that. You need just that tiny little thing, and we lean into it.
Yeah, I mean,
So hard. In
Why
the
not?
worst way.
yeah.
Hello, how could we make this more awkward for you? I know. Frog on our head.
It's more entertaining. It's more entertaining to live that way.
Please, if anybody's listening to this and wants to get a frog on the head, do not use a real frog on your head. Leave the poor creatures alone. And don't kiss them. I don't want your germs.
No, don't do that.
So we used to go catch frogs all the time when I was a kid with my brothers. And one time, oh, so traumatizing. So one time I was trying to catch a frog, and I'm leaning into this little pond, and it was a really sharp. It was a man-made pond. It was a really sharp dip into it, and I'm leaning to get the frog, and I slipped, and I managed to kind of stop myself when I'm half in the pond and half not, but the frog ended up in my shorts. And yeah, I was wearing jean shorts that were kind of rolled, they're pretty tight, and so it was clearly going up, and I couldn't pull myself back because then the shorts would tighten and squish the frog. And if there's anything worse than a live frog going up your shorts, it's a dead frog in your shorts. And so I'm screaming at my brother to help me, who's not helping me because he's laughing too hard. Like, he was just hysterical for several minutes over this, and I was stuck there half in a pond in my shorts.
No.
Several minutes before he finally helped me up so we could get the frog out. Just traumatizing. So no, leave them alone. They don't need you, and you don't need them.
No. My worst experience with a frog is that there was one in my washing machine, and I didn't know it. I don't know how it got there, but I was taking the clean wet towels, and putting them in the dryer, and I grabbed a clean dead frog and screamed and flung him through the laundry room.
It's horrifying.
Yeah, clean dead frog. I rewashed those towels.
Yeah.
We used to have frogs that lived under the shed when I was little. Like, every now and again, I would come and rib it out and dance around the garden and then disappear again. But that's about it.
Did you say that they come and ribbit out? Because that's my new favorite verb to use.
Yeah.
You're just riveting around. Riveted out.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Just
That's good.
I think there was this like little
Riveting.
tiny little just rough patch of land between, because I lived in like in all Victorian houses with a garden, and then there was the gardens back to back with these bungalows, but there was this tiny patch of land that didn't belong to anybody at all, so it was just this little scrub land, so it was just left to go wild. And they must have lived in there. There was like blueberry bushes and stuff. It was tiny. It was this tiny, like the size of a room, small. And there was blueberry bushes and raspberry bushes, and there must be frogs in there, and it was just left to go absolutely wild, this tiny little patch of land. So yeah, they must have been in there, and then every now and again it would come and hide underneath our shed after it rained, because it must have been quite perfect conditions for them, and then ribbit around.
It's just riveted around.
Your story's much clearer than ours.
It is.
I was
Ours
never
is
an
horrifying.
adventurous
Like,
child.
I have this adorable. Well, I had older brothers, and so you have two choices with that. You can either join them in catching all the frogs, or not, and basically play by yourself all the time. Because we lived out in the sticks. There weren't really a lot of children around us anywhere, and so options were limited. We used to also. My brothers would get like a bucket, a big plastic bucket, and we would catch all the snakes that we could and fill the bucket. And we wouldn't get like full, but like 20, 30 snakes in there. And then try to bring it in the house. My mom would say no, like a reasonable person.
Yes. Sensible.
And so one time I decided, I had caught a lizard. I decided I would try to sneak it into the house. And so I was wearing sweatpants. All my stories reptiles in my pants today. So I was wearing these sweatpants that had a rip in them. And so I snuck it into like the bottom the sweatpants, so you could hang out there and be sort of, cuddled. And we went to my room and we put the lizard in the drawer to hide it for now. Not realizing that the set of drawers that I had, the back was just kind of open. So when later I went to peek for the lizard, it was gone. And so I was tearing, my stepsister and I were tearing around the room trying to find this lizard. And my mom peeked her head in. She's like, "What are you guys up to?" And we're like, "Nothing. It's fine." My mom is very smart. And so she knew nothing was fine. She knew something was horribly wrong. She figured it out pretty quickly, but she's the kind of like, let's see how this plays out. And so, my stepdad found the lizard later, like, I think 3 a.m, perched on the toilet seat. He screamed. There was a large scream. He tossed the lizard out the window. I hope it was fine. That poor lizard. And then I got in trouble for sneaking a lizard into the house because I knew better. Poorly planned. Did not go well.
Did you learn what the dangers of sweatpants are now? Be careful with sweatpants.
Don't put anything in there. Especially anything alive. Just don't.
That is a life lesson.
Sweatpants.
That is a life lesson.
Nature stays outside. I think that was a good. My poor mother. I mean, just the things that
you see. I do have an older brother, but he is a complete nerdy geek who lives behind his computer 100% of the time. Like, nature is just somewhere he has to go and visit, to go into his car to then go to work. It's not a venture forth kind of thing.
We were basically feral.
So I was, yeah. If it was a frog catcher in the family, it would have been me.
We were like I said, we lived in the woods, and so like that was a lot of the entertainment. It was like, what can you go find, and what can you climb, and
bothering the animals.
Yeah, and my brother Jerry especially had little fear, and so he would do things that would get him in trouble. Like one time, he climbed a tree, a very large sort of, I don't know, evergreen type tree to the top, but he broke him, and so he was up at the top yelling for my mom, like, "Hey, look at me," and there's her son at the tippy top of this tree that's sort of swinging back and forth, and with an axe. None of which is a good idea, none of it. And so she yelled at him to drop the axe, and he was very upset. She was not paying attention to him and this thing that he had done, and she was just focused on getting the axe out of his hands because he was going to have to climb down out of the tree at some point. Yeah, we were not easy children.
I love it.
My poor mother.
I love it.
And now she lives with my children. We're also feral. They're not quite the same level. Yeah, they're more urban feral. We're not in the woods. No one's trying to make friends with a raccoon.
Urban feral.
Should make friends with a raccoon.
I tried. Like I said, we were in the woods. Not a lot to do. I read a lot.
And no raccoons down the sweatpants.
Squirrels. What about squirrels in your pants? Put a squirrel in your pants?
No. Ferret, probably. We had a ferret. Yeah. My
Did you put
stepmom.
a ferret in your pants?
I probably did at some point. I mean, honestly.
Wildlife stays outside.
My stepmom likes to rescue animals, and so we always had like all of creatures around the house. All kinds. Sheep, goats. We had a pig for a while. Birds. My dad had peacocks. Terrifying.
Oh no,
they're awful. They're awful.
No, Claire hates peacocks. Claire's terrified of peacocks.
Scream in the middle of the night. And doves and chickens. Snakes and lizards, the ferret, dogs, cats. I mean, I'm trying to think what else. There was a rabbit for a while, ducks. Yeah, I lived in a zoo.
I had a duck. I had a duck once. Yeah, I had a duck. I had a duck once that my uncle gave to me, and my uncle named the duck Dumper.
Oh.
His name was Dumper. So I had Dumper, the duck, for a while. And then he flew south for the winter and didn't come back.
Oh.
I'm okay with that.
Is this the valve uncle?
Yes. The uncle with the valve.
Valve?
Yes. We bought property in Arkansas on a lake, a tiny lake, and there was a man who it's a man-made lake, and there was a dam, and this man decided that for some reason the lake was going to overflow and like kill everyone and drown everyone, so he opened this valve to let the water out, but then it broke, and so then my Arkansas uncles wanted to fix the valve, and when we went home to visit for Christmas a few years ago, I just quietly recorded the conversation and sent it to Claire because she wouldn't understand anything that they were saying, but it was the valve.
We
checked out that property.
Accent.
Very strong.
It was. We checked out the property recently, and I'm so excited to live there. And it's probably haunted. And the house, there are 2 houses on the property, and the house in the front door only has a deadbolt lock, not even a space for another doorknob. So I'm pretty sure someone was locked in there to die.
Yeah. That's a hostage house right there.
Yeah. There's holes in the roof of this house. There was a hospital bed in there.
Definitely hostage
wheelchair.
house.
Pretty sure someone died in there. So we're not going to live in that one. We're gonna get rid of that house. And then there's another house that's right on the lake that's like a burned out husk. And there's a haunted Garfield doll that's in front of it. And I'm going to put him in the walls. Or send him to someone in the mail without telling them. I don't know. But pretty excited about it.
If I get a Garfield doll randomly, I know where it's come from and it's going right back. Like, literally, ah! And then I'm going to go to the post office straight away and return post it. So would you rather live in the hostage house or in the haunted Garfield house? You have to pick one.
Haunted Garfield.
I'm living in the haunted Garfield house.
I'd pick haunted Garfield house.
Yeah.
Hostage, like I feel like...
Because at least it'd be interesting.
It's a different kind of creepy, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. We're really excited about it, though. We're getting ever closer to the point where we can move back, live on the lake. We're going to build a nice purple house on the lake with a Garfield.
Yeah, we just got...
And the valves.
We went down to... I have a bunch of family in Mississippi. So I got on a plane for the first time in like a year and a half and went down there for a week. And yeah, there's definitely some thick accents with my family. Because I also have family that came down from Illinois, kind of Illinois, Kentucky area. And so it's a variety of accents that sometimes are hard to parse out. But it's a lot of fun.
I'm afraid when I move back that the Arkansas is going to come out again.
I was thinking that the other day, actually, when you texted us about the house. And then I thought, I'm just going to sit here like this and wait.
It comes out sometimes when I get really excited, and I'm not looking forward. That's the one thing I'm not looking forward to moving back.
Everyone has, like, I can't hear my mom's accent, but when she first moved down to Mississippi, they knew where she was from originally. Like, they're like, "You're from Illinois," and she's like, "Okay." Like, they could hear it, and I can't hear it at all. Like, to me, she just sounds, normal. But up here, like this area, the Northwest, is weirdly considered a no accent zone. I mean, we do, obviously, everyone has an accent, but it's one that they use for, I think, a lot of commercials and stuff, because like West Coast is kind of considered like I don't know, it's very strange.
It's not a strong American accent. Like, from a person who isn't American, it is not a strong American accent. From anybody I've talked to, from
a lot of times when when I've gone over to the UK, I've never pretended to be Canadian, as they tell us to do. But I'm close enough. People are like, "Oh, you're from Canada." I'm like, No, I'm from Seattle. They're like, "Well, yeah, Canada." I'm like, "No, it's close. Like, I can drive there. It's like 3 hours." but it's not actually. I got in an
Different
argument.
country.
I got an argument with a takeaway guy in Edinburgh who wouldn't. He's like, no, Seattle is in Canada. I'm like, no. I mean, I wish, but no. It's not.
Not what your passport says.
Yeah, but yeah, it's.
I get Scottish because I'm only an hour away from the Scottish border. People say, "Oh, you've got a Scottish accent." I'm like, no,
no. It's funny. The closest thing we have to one is we tend to talk too fast and we don't always enunciate. And so, like, that's if I'm very excited, it becomes sort of a blur. But we just don't really have that thick of one. And so I've been mistaken for lots of places.
I
wish I had a
too
cool
bad
accent.
Not northeastern accent. Yeah.
I wish I had a cool
I
one.
like to pretend that I have accents.
I'm not allowed to pretend I've got accents. Unless they're for the Patreon videos.
Yes.
Why aren't you allowed to pretend you have accents?
Because I'm terrible.
It's bad.
It's bad.
It's bad.
It's bad.
I can't.
One of the girls on my uni course, who is from, I think she's from Georgia, she saw one of the Patreon videos where I had to affect a southern accent. So I just go drama queen wrong. You know, just like OTT, this is stupid. I can't do it properly, so I'm not going to do it properly at all. I'm just going to just throw it out there. And it's borderline insulting, really. But I was on a Zoom call with her. I was just having a bit of a catch up, and she was like, before everybody dialed in, she was like, "Claire, you got to do it. You've got to do it. You've got to do it." So she made me do it, and I was like, "I don't want to do it. I feel like a performing monkey right now. I don't want to do it." But she made me do it because it's just I'm bad. I can't do accents. I've tried to do like Irish or Scottish, and it's borderline racist. It's terrible. It's like I'm appropriating the accents. And then it evolves into something wrong, and it's naughty, and I don't like it, so I'm not allowed to do it.
I can't do it either.
I'm very aware of this.
I have to watch it when I'm spending a lot of time with someone who does have a different accent than me, because I will unconsciously start to mimic, which is normal human behavior. Like, that's how we learn.
Yeah.
To talk. But people don't like it because they think you're making fun of them, which I'm not doing. But it's just I'll start to do it if I'm not really conscious of it. So I have to watch. I'm not good at it either.
When I worked at a call centre, we used to do the mimicking the accent, but unfortunately, if you started mimicking the accent, you had to keep it up for the entirety of the call, and it was really difficult. And there's some accents where they don't go J, they go Jai, and it's really awful to go Jai all the time, especially when you're constantly having to say numbers and letters, because it was like a mail order company, and it was terrible. It was so bad. How we didn't get the calls weren't recorded, so that's how I think we didn't get fired.
Yep.
I think a lot of call centers it's such high turnover because it's a terrible job, and so I was at one. When I was like 18, I worked at one, and I was there for 3 months, and I was one of the senior employees at that point. It was awful. It was so bad. It was Ticketmaster, and everyone hated Ticketmaster, and so basically you got
still Ticketmaster.
Yeah, and you should, but I shouldn't have. I needed a job, so I took it, and I shouldn't have taken it because like anytime you work at a job where they're like, yeah, we don't post the address because we get a lot of threats. I'm like, I should not have worked there. Also, I'm not good. I don't like the phone. I'm not good at it. I don't enjoy being on it. So, like, working at a call center was the worst idea I've ever had.
Everybody should work customer service at one point in their life. I don't care what kind of customer service it is, but you should work customer service one point in your life because you'll have a lot more forgiveness for people. But yeah, that's my belief. Everybody should work customer service in some way, shape, or form at some point in their life.
At this point, it's like food service or customer service, one of the two. Because at this point, like, in the U.S. you tip, which it's a terrible approach because that means usually that the people you're tipping don't have a living wage, but it's what we're stuck with. So at this point, for me to not tip you, you'd probably have to punch me in the face. Like, I'll put up with pretty much anything because I've worked food service, and the amount of times I've been yelled at for things that were not anything to do with me, just like my sympathy runs real high with all that. It's a terrible job, and people are awful to you, and they treat you like you have no brain whatsoever. Yeah, it's funny. Like I laugh at all like there's all these like the cute sort of like rom-coms where they work in a bakery because people think working in a bakery is a really cute, adorable job, and it's not. It's not a cute. The job where I worked at a bakery, I think, was the one I had to deal with the most people like being just awful, where I'd have to call security or just. I had a guy scream at me once over a bagel, and I'm like, I'll just I can get you a new bagel. I can refund your money, and he's still screaming, and I'm like, I've given you 2 options, sir. I don't know what you want from me. I can't go back in time and tell you not to order the bagel. But it's people have gotten used to the idea that you can order something and it like there's just kind of this unlimited supply. And bakeries tend to run on, you bake it in the morning, you have X amount, and when they're gone, they're gone. But people can't wrap their head around that idea, and so like they'll try to order things that aren't there, and you try to explain to them, but there's no more chocolate cake. But I want chocolate cake. I don't know what to tell you because we have no more. Can't the bake another one? No, the baker has gone home because they were out here at 3 a.m. to bake cakes, and they're done. They've left. It's the evening now. Well, you don't make chocolate cake anymore? No, we do. We do. It's just we made some and people ate it, and now it is gone. And you have this conversation for like a half an hour, and it never ends. And there's just it's like you've been punched in the brain by the end of it, and you can't. And so, yeah.
You say you write weird, but you've actually just lived weird. Like reality's horror, like a horror story in comparison to like the books that you produce.
No, I do. I honestly think there's something about me that does it, because I have definitely had friends that look at me and be like, I don't understand. There's something that you do. We haven't figured out what it is yet that just brings it to me. I mean, it's like, I moved to Louisiana a week before Katrina. Like, we were in our apartment for 5 days, and they had like the biggest hurricane in like 30 years. Of course we would. It's just,
it was your fault is really what I'm hearing.
I cursed the coast down there.
You did.
Amanda, you need to get to Arkansas, and you need to get there now.
What will I have brought to see?
Because
what horror have I unleashed?
The volcanoes, the volcanoes, the tectonic plates are gonna, everything, the world's gonna end, earthquakes everywhere.
We have giant octopi, maybe we'll just get attacked by a kraken. I mean, why not?
We could.
Why not?
Yeah, we could. It could be good.
I take a ferry down. It's gone.
Yeah.
This has gone absolutely bonkers crazy, and I think we've probably kept you for long enough.
Probably so, but it's shorter than the last time. Shorter than the last time you were on.
We're getting more efficient.
We are. We really, really are.
Yeah.
I just hope that, when you come back, because you have to, with curses, when you come back, I really think that we should shoot for either, 2 hours or 4, 5. Just see how long we can go. Just keep on going. I think it would be great.
Marathon. We're going to marathon.
Yeah.
See how long.
Just see what random things we can talk about. I think it's a great challenge. And we should do it.
I believe in us. I think we can do it.
Good. All right.
Movies alone, we've got at least 2 hours. Maybe we get at least 2 hours just out of film. Easy.
Yeah.
Strange movies we've watched.
Yes. I'm really surprised that our strange movie conversation did not last very long this time. I'm a little bit upset with us, honestly.
I've not been watching enough films recently. Like, I don't know what happened. But yeah, I've not... I watched Shadow and Bone, but I've been really bad at watching stuff.
Well, now you need to watch Ghoulies.
I need to watch
the rest of them.
Yeah. I need to go back and watch Ghoulies. I have a list. I started... So I used to do trivia night at a bar by my house. And I started doing it again. And one of the bartenders there is a big horror movie buff. And so he's been giving me a list of books or movies that I haven't watched yet. And so hopefully soon, sit down, catch back up, watch some good stuff.
Yeah.
Or some questions.
We just read the Mary Shelley Club or The Last Girl, depending on where you live, and it is full of horror movies, horror movie references. It's so great. We've created a bingo card. And while we were having our conversation, we mentioned 34 horror movies, and that's not even covering all of the ones that were mentioned in the book. It was fantastic.
There's so many, which Last Girl was it?
Goldie Moldavsky. It's the Mary Shelley Club here.
Because there's one that I think is either just came out or is coming out. What is it? The
Grady Hendrix one?
Final Girl Support Group. He used to write all kinds of blog posts about horror novels, like the schlock horror novels from like the 80s and stuff. And he's funny. I mean, he's really funny. I read.
Yeah, we read Horror Store.
Yeah,
we did Horror Store on the show.
I've done the Southern Vampire Club's guide to. No, the book club guide to vampire hunting. I can't remember the exact name. I read that one.
I have that. That one's on my pile. I think the paperback that we had over here of My Best Friend's Exorcism has one of the best covers I've ever seen, where it looks like an old VHS film from like the 80s.
That's the cover we've got as well.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I need to read. I've got like my pile is so huge. My reading pile is so huge. And I got to read
those
books.
feels.
Yeah, I've got to read books this week because I'm doing two in the next like 2 weeks. I think I'm doing two different in conversation events with one is with my friend Olivia for her book Hellions Waltz, which is like a Regency romance, and then another one with Will Ritter, who does he did the Jacoby series, and then we're going to be talking about the Oddmeyer books, which is the middle grade. So I've got to finish reading those.
That's fun.
Before I go read other things. But they'll both be fun chats.
Stick Mary Shelley Club high on the list.
Shelley Club.
It's a quick read. You know, it is. It's not a difficult read. You'll get through. You'll smash it. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, though. And then listen to our episode about it, because we enjoyed it.
Okay. I need to listen to your episode with Kandare, too. I love Kandare.
She's so wonderful.
She's good fun. She has such a dry... She really does. I just love her sense of humor. I basically I read her debut, oh my gosh, why am I blanking on the title?
Anna Dressed in Blood?
Anna Dressed in Blood. Thank you, Anna Dressed in Blood. And I read through it. I'm like, oh, this is so much fun. And I got to her little bio, and it said where she lived, and it's like, that's where I live. So I basically tracked her down on the internet and made her be my friend. As you do.
That sounds familiar. That sounds very familiar.
That sounds like something that we've done. I'm supposed to meet up with her sometime to get a copy of her latest book. Either we meet close in person, or she throws it at me from a distance.
Yeah.
Depending on how we're feeling in the COVID times.
It might be both. She might throw it at you and then come and check to see if you're all right.
She has the best T-shirt collection, honestly. That she wears for tour, where it's all just different pictures of 80s heartthrobs. She's got Val Kilmer. I'm pretty sure she has Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum, we know.
Yeah. Kevin Bacon.
Oh, there's a Kevin Bacon one?
Well, I mean, the T-shirt is I think. If you look back through her Instagram, I think it's whenever she did events, she would wear those shirts, and they're great. Yeah, she's a lot of fun. She's one of my favorite people.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
I met her in person for the first time at a con, and she was giving me a copy of one of the. I think it was when Five Dark Fates came out.
Yeah.
And she was eating a hamburger, and she was like, no, come over here. And then she, made me take pictures of her while she was eating the hamburger, and it was just...
That sounds about right.
She was like, So, there's pictures of me dressed as, a casual Jubilee with Kandara shoving a hamburger in her face.
That's perfect.
Yeah, she really
really good.
Yeah. It's like I finally I got to
I
see
love
her.
the
Was it a couple of weeks ago for the first time in a year and a half or something. We met up at a winery outside, which I then, after she left, accidentally caught on fire. Not much. It wasn't my fault. we were at one of those tables that has like a little like fire element in the middle, which to me, I'm sorry, at a winery seems like a terrible idea. I mean, I get it. It can be cold. You're out there in the
Stop
evening.
trying to justify it.
So we had food on plates, and then everyone. It was just me and Marissa Meyer left, and like Marissa went to go do something, came back, and I was like, so there was a small fire. She's like, I left you for 2 seconds, but what happened? It got windy, and it blew my napkin into it, but it was a little paper napkin. It just sort of instantly was gone, and so I'm like, oh, that problem took care of itself. But then it gusted over, and it got my paper plate. So then like threw it to the ground and tried to stomp on it, which did not help. And I had no water, or all the wine and water was gone. So I had to walk in. I had to put my mask on and then walk into the winery and be like, "Can I have some more water because I have a small fire?" It's like, they were really great. I felt very bad. I'm glad we'd already paid them, and I tipped well because
You tipped well for the
nothing
fire damage.
Nothing permanent was done. We kept it to the paper plate. Yeah, small fire. This is why you can't
That's
take me
fantastic.
anywhere. Small fire. It's fine.
That's fantastic. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Right.
I think that's a good place to end.
That's a mic drop moment.
Setting small fires
We will end with
is a
fire.
good place to end.
I'll have to
We
do
will
some
end
other
with fire.
things before we talk about curses. I have new stories for you.
Please.
Yes.
Something else on
Please
fire.
do. Fire or frogs in your pants or on your head.
I'd like to never have.
Or in the
Setting
washing
fire to
machine.
sweatpants whilst there's a frog down there. Or
I
a
don't
frog on your
think
head
that at
setting
all.
fire to what?
If I can never have a frog,
It doesn't have to be you.
I think that would be
It could be
good.
somebody else.
If it's
Oh
anyone,
my
I'm
gosh.
talking about Smalls. Smalls would be the kid to put a frog in his pants.
I always think if Child Protective Services haven't got me yet, I'm not doing too badly, so just keep going.
Just like with Torben's obsession with horror movie icons, and he's since kindergarten. I had to tell his teacher, I'm like, hey, I've told him that he can't talk about this at school, but if he does, like, he's not actually watching these movies. We don't let him, but he got into it. He was Freddy last year for Halloween. The year before that, he was Jason. I think I have those pictures somewhere on my Instagram because they were adorable. But I'm sure I'm sure there are people who are like, no, Lish, no.
Stop it.
Just for
Screw them.
Stop it.
interests.
Screw them.
All right. Well, it's good talking.
And then you start a small fire and then it's over. Yes, thanks for joining us again.
Where can we find you on socials, and what's your Patreon for everybody to go head over?
The nice thing is my name is weird, so you can if you put in Lish McBride, so it'll come up. Because that's like Instagram and Twitter. It's just under my name, and so is my Patreon. Which I just post chapters or short stories, and there's a bunch of Sam stuff on there and other things, some other weird things. But yeah, if you put my name in anywhere, it's always me. There's no other Lish McBrides.
Perfect.
And there never will be, and it's fantastic.
Hopefully not.
Well, good
We'll
luck with your
just
book launch
set them
next
on
month
fire.
as well.
Yes.
Good luck with the launch of
Yes.
Curses next month.
Thank you.
It will be a
Yes,
roaring
we-
success.
We'll definitely retweet and share everything that you share
Thank you.
to get
Yes.
the word out.
I appreciate it.
And then we'll force you to come back. And it'll be fun.
Anytime.
Awesome.
Mint.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye. So that's it for this bonus episode of Fictional Hangover. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire.
Join us next time as we discuss Last Sacrifice, the final book of the Vampire Academy series by Rochelle Mead. Look out for our Would You Rather polls on social media. Don't forget about our book club and monthly challenges on Facebook. Be sure to visit our shop on Redbubble at fictionalhangover.redbubble.com for all your favorite Fictional Hangover themed merchandise. And become a patron of ours on Patreon at patreon.com/fictionalhangover. Until next time, remember, the only cure for a fictional hangover is another book.
You can find us at fictionalhangover.com, follow us on Instagram at fictionalhangover, find us on Facebook at facebook.com/fictionalhangover, and on Twitter at fictionalhangover, no ER. If you'd like this episode, check out our others and rate, review and subscribe so you don't miss out. And finally, special thanks to Liz Emerson for our music. You can find her on Facebook and Patreon. Thanks for listening.